Hey everyone, back in October I was on a motorcycle trip where I got stuck in Virginia an extra night due to a nor'easter that was in New Jersey. And so I ended up getting about 2 inches of snow in Natural Bridge, Virginia. And at the time somebody asked me, said, well, I hope you really have enough food and all to get you through the day. And I said, I'll always travel with my camp kitchen. And so last week I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and we were talking about my motorcycle trip, and I said something about traveling kind of minimalist. She said, well, I thought you had a camp kitchen with you. I said, well, I do, but I consider that sort of minimalist travel. And so I thought I'd share today what I consider kind of a perfect setup for a camp kitchen. And just wanted to show you the pieces here. So first of all, this is it. It all packs nicely into a bag that's about 12 inches high and about 8 inches in diameter. And just kind of run through the things that I have in here. So first of all, I've got some paper bowls. I keep actually paper plates in my trunk. But then I've got a MSR IsoPro Fuel blend here, butane and propane mix. I carry a lighter. I carry a couple of collapsible cups. You can see these, and each of these is about 9 ounces. I carry 2 of those, and the reason I carry 2 of them is I put coffee in one, and even though they're silicone rubber, I don't like to get the coffee taste into anything else I might be drinking. I then carry a collapsible kettle. Now, I'm going to show you some other stuff here in a few minutes, but it would almost seem like, well, why don't you just use a pot to boil water in? Because really all I do in this is boil water. And the reason I don't do that is because the pot, or the kettle that I have, the pot I should say, doesn't have a pour spout. And if you've ever tried to pour boiling water out of a kettle that does not have a pour spout on the sides, and especially if you're doing it, say, in a single person tent, which I do occasionally, you can pour boiling water all over the place. So what I like about this is it collapses down really nice. It doesn't take up much space. I can boil water in here, and it'll stay hot in here for quite some time, but then I can pour it into whatever I need, whether it be oatmeal or one of the Mountain House meals that come in a bag. Those are the meal ready to eat, the MREs. And by the way, I'm going to put links for all of these things in the description of the video right below here. So I carry a bag of plastic utensils, so there's some knives and spoons and forks in here. Here is my cooking spoon, and I actually took a regular, this was a kitchen spoon that I ended up cutting the handle off of so it would fit down in my bag here a lot easier. And then, of course, I always carry a headlamp with me. Actually, I have several of those. I have one in my motorcycle saddlebag, and then I keep one in my kitchen bag as well. All right, so here is the setup that I have for my cooking. And what I really have here is a couple of little utensils and plastic bowls and measuring cups, and this is my larger pan, deeper kettle I should say, and then this is my little fry pan. Okay. And then the final thing that I have is this little Etekcity stove. And what I really like about it is, as you can see, it took up virtually no room whatsoever. But it screws right into the top of my butane canister. It's got a Piezo starter on it that I can light right up, and then my pan just sits right on top. So I can cook anything I need, pretty much a full meal without any issues whatsoever. And like I said, when I'm done with all this, it all packs back down, stacks real nicely, and packs away in my trunk of my motorcycle. Now, just to remind you, I've got a 2010 Kawasaki 1700 Vulcan Voyager full dress touring bike, and I have roughly 50 liters of trunk space, about 35 liters in each saddlebag. That equates to about 13.2 gallons of trunk space and just under 10 gallons in each of the saddlebags. So this stays in my trunk, takes up very little room. It stays right next to my sleeping bag, and usually in my trunk I also have a luggage carrier on top, so I've got an Arctic weatherproof duffel that sits up there, and I usually have it locked to my luggage rack. So I try to put things in the trunk that I'm not going to need until I get set up at camp, and that's usually my sleeping bag, an extra blanket, my camp kitchen, and then I've usually got a pair of tennis shoes with me and a toiletries bag, and all of those things fit nicely in the trunk, and then I don't have to open that at all during the ride. So again, that's my setup, and I'll take all this stuff down, show you how it all goes back together, and I'll play that rather quickly. Oh, and one last thing. I always have to have coffee with me, and I carry these little Folgers singles, what they call Folgers singles. They're like coffee in a tea bag. They're not all that great, but you know, when I boil water and am trying to get started in the morning, I can keep like 30 or 40 of these in my trunk, and they just float around back there. I don't really worry. I put them in a baggie and don't really worry about keeping the rest of the stuff. But those are rather convenient, and like I said, they're not the greatest tasting in the world, but you know, coffee's coffee, caffeine's caffeine, so you got to get started with it. So again, this is my camp kitchen. Thank you for watching.